What's dangerous about using AI for parenting advice? You're stuck yelling at your kids because they don't listen otherwise. And no amount of parenting scripts has worked for you so far. Because in those situations when they don't listen, when they are being too slow to get out in the morning, or they are being too slow to get to bed at night, or they keep hitting each other or you. Yeah, and in those moments, you're doing your best to stay calm because you know that yelling, threatening, bribing doesn't work. You don't want to be that kind of mom. But when nothing else works, you feel the anger rising in your body, and sooner or later it takes over anyways, and you snap, explode, you yell. And then you regret it afterwards, and you feel even more guilty because why did I just do it again when I know better? What's wrong with me? This is the point usually when most of the moms who come to me for help, they are admitting that they tried using AI. And the advice they got actually looked great. It sounded very logical, it looked amazing on the screen, but then they tried to apply it, and the next day they're in the same situation again. So, why? Because AI is built to answer questions. However, the problem here is not the answers. Why? Because that advice is built around the wrong question. If you ask, how do I make my kids listen more? How can I stop yelling? Why are they not helping me? What's wrong with them? What's wrong with me? How can I manipulate them so that they listen the first time I ask? And maybe the answer you get back sounds logical, but that's why it doesn't work. So a better question to ask is, well, what is it exactly that happens in those 3 seconds before you lose it? Because there is the key in turning the whole situation around and you being able to stand your ground with calm without forcing it. So, would you like to find out how? Then meet me in this episode of the Zen Supermom podcast. Hi, my name is Alena and I'm a mommy tantrum specialist because I used to be a specialist at yelling at my baby daughter back then, daily. Whenever I felt not heard, not respected, like she was wasting my time, like nobody cared to help me. I was all alone doing everything by myself, not being appreciated for it. So I used to be what I called a mamazilla. Sooner or later I lost it. And that was 8 years ago. And I just wish probably if there was AI back then, that would be my new best friend because I would be sharing all of my thoughts and I would be asking all the questions. This is the challenge though, because this is what I'm hearing from a lot of moms who are reaching out to me for help after they've tried months of AI parenting coaching. And they're actually feeling worse and worse. So why is that? What are the risks and dangers of using AI? And why it can never really substitute for you, for your decisions as a healthy, grounded parent? What is the work underneath? And what is actually even going on? How come it sounds so great on screen, but then you try to do it with your own smart little, strong-willed kids, and it doesn't work? What's wrong? Because the first thing I want you to know, there's nothing wrong with you. And also there's nothing wrong with the kids. And that's, by the way, the Zen Supermom podcast is the first parenting podcast that's not about the kids, because let's take the kids out of equation, shall we? We need to have a look at what's going on with you in those moments just before you lose it, because that's where all the answers are, okay? That's why if you ask AI, how can I make my kids listen the first time I ask? How can I help them stop fighting? How can I make them eat veggies? How can I help them wake up and be sunny, shiny, happy so that we are all on time at work and at school? It will probably give you some advice in the range of, well, stay calm and firm, or set up healthy, consistent boundaries and natural consequences, or, well, help them overcome sibling jealousy, just spend more time with them one-on-one. And you're like, yeah, great, thank you. Sounds great. Wouldn't I know this? Of course I know how to do that. I should be doing that. I'm trying already. But how do I do it in reality? How do I do it when you might be saying, I'm a single mom with no support. I have 3 or more kids. I am perimenopausal, I have crazy hormones. There are certain times of the month when I can chew somebody's head off just if they give me the wrong look, right? How do I do it when my kids have ADHD? Or maybe they're on the spectrum, because then it's it's not my fault, it's just my kids are difficult than others, so of course it doesn't work for us. So there can be a lot of different situations that kind of yeah, maybe it works for the other moms, but this is why it doesn't work for me. Now, what if there was actually something completely different going on under the surface? And what if that was the key to giving you back the power and control over the situations and your own emotions, so that you become the healthy role model for your kids on how to stay calm in relationships that are not going the way you want? How about that? That's what we will talk about in this podcast episode. Because this is why the AI advice doesn't work. And also, by the way, why usually even canceling, anger therapy, CBT, like behavioral therapy, why it doesn't work, because it focuses on the symptom level. It focuses on the behavior. So how your child behaves or how you respond. What is your behavior as a response? That's like putting a Bandaid to someone who has a broken arm. Like, yeah, maybe you stop some of the bleeding, but you don't fix the bones, you don't fix anything, right? You don't prevent any breakage from going forward, right? We are not even here to fix anything. We are here to make sure that everybody stays healthy even going forward, right? That's why AI can never give you the right answer, because AI doesn't know the context. AI doesn't know why it's happening. AI is just helping you manage the consequence, but it's not going to prevent it from happening again and again and again. Every morning when you wake up, every evening when you're trying to put them to bed, every time they are hungry, tired, jealous, and they keep fighting and they keep being noisy and you're exhausted from work and everything, and you keep yelling at them in return. Okay? That's why AI will never be able to help you with that. So what is it that needs to happen instead? AI will help you answer the question you're asking, but then let's start asking smarter questions. What is it that happens before you lose it? What is it that happens before your kids lose it and start fighting, start dragging their feet? What is at the root of it? How does it all even start? So that you can prevent it. Because the problem is not what your child is doing or not doing or saying right now. And it's not about what script, what parenting technique you're using to try to manipulate them into obedience and manage their emotions. It's about what happens to you and inside you before you even speak. Because I'll say that with all of my compassion, zero judgment, because I was there as well. But how can we as moms expect our kids to have more emotional awareness and control than what we have? And I get that, like every mom wants to raise like not only smart kids, but kind, respectful, emotionally attuned, and while having healthy self-confidence. We don't want to break their strong will. We don't want them to become doormats. But how do you do that unless or without you knowing how to manage your own emotions, especially in situations when things are not going your way, when people are not cooperating, you're not getting what you need in time frame that you need it. That's why I was having mommy tantrums, right? In situations when I did not get what I needed, what I wanted, in the time that I wanted it. I was having mommy tantrums. So how am I supposed to raise a daughter who knows how to manage her impulses and her emotions if I'm not a healthy role model for that? How am I supposed to teach her how not to be bullied and how to have a healthy self-confidence, not to become anybody's doormat or a victim of some abusive, toxic relationship later on, if I am the one who's being emotionally abusive and shifting my anger, my resentment, my lack of emotional control and making it her fault? Doesn't work. So that's why the first step is looking, and let's get curious at, well, what is it that happens with you just before you yell? And if you don't believe me, like, don't take my word for it. Just try it out yourself. Think of the last situation where you lost it and you regretted it afterwards. And rewind the situation just before you yelled. Yeah? So you were taking a breath, like things were happening around you. You didn't like it. Somebody said or did something and you're like, and you were trying to hold it together not to yell, but that anger was getting stronger and stronger, more intense. All these smart techniques, AI advice, like poof, out of your brain. How did you feel in that moment? How did that situation make you feel about you? Yeah, because usually what comes up is not good enough, out of control, not being respected, not being cared for, like just like nobody cares, I'm invisible, nobody appreciates me, what the heck, this is not fair, there's no justice in the world. Yeah, whichever was it, this is the key. This is the reason why you cannot control your emotions, and why right now, sorry to say that, but right now you're not the healthiest role model for your kids, because these are the 3 seconds that are key to you becoming the healthy role model for your kids and managing their big emotions, because this is what you need to get grip on. Not to suppress it, not to avoid it, not to pretend you're not feeling these things, but to make sense out of it. Where is it coming from? How come it's there? Why is it so strong? Because I can already tell you why it is so strong. It's in your subconscious mind. Like, this is your fight or flight response in that moment, and you probably will realize it's true, even though some moms tell me, like, I always felt it, but I couldn't put my fingers on it. I could never, like, explicitly say that the way you do, talking to me. Why is it so strong? Because it's in your subconscious mind. Okay, this is not your logical brain. In that moment, it's your fight or flight response because your boundaries were crossed. And there's a part of you who feels threatened, who feels in danger, who feels like it's risky. Things are getting out of control very quickly. So there's a part of you that will jump up very strongly and will take over. And that's the anger. And that's why that anger becomes uncontrollable. It's your autopilot in that moment. And that's why it hijacks even your smart brain. Okay, I don't want to go into like a neuroscience lecture here. For more, you can actually attend one of my live Mommy Tantrum masterclasses, because that's where I explain it with giving you more time for this and other exercises, because this is the key to you figuring out, why do I lose control over my emotions? How do I get it back? And then how do I help my kids in return to manage their emotions and be more cooperative naturally with me, not because I'm manipulating them secretly, but because they want to, so that they can keep up with their healthy self-confidence and strong willpower while learning boundaries, while learning empathy and connection and respect, right? That's what you want, don't you? So this is not my rant on AI. I love working with AI. I use it every day in my work, but not in the work, not in decision making. I use it as an assistant, as an administrator, as a sounding board for brainstorms and for ideas. But AI by default is built to not only just answer questions, so you better start asking much better questions, but it's also designed to make you, the user, happy, and to make you feel heard and seen and appreciated, so that you keep coming back. And that's why it's focusing on your side of the story, on giving you the answers you want to hear about how amazing and great you are. And yes, you're right and they are wrong. And like, it feels great to be like, okay, at least somebody's on my side. At least somebody agrees with me. It makes you feel better to talk to AI. However, there have been studies upon studies having been done already on why AI, in general, it's risky to discuss any kind of relationship advice with AI. Because relationships are hardly ever just one-sided. There are usually more perspectives, there's more background, there's more history, there are more blind spots you don't even know about, which AI will never tell you or never even prompt you that you should ask or you should consider that. It's just meant to lock you in, make you happy, give you the most straightforward, logically sounding answer, but it's never going to give you the full picture and long-term sustainable advice. This is why. Does it make sense? So here's the good news. You're not broken. Your kids are not bad, mean, spoiled kids. All of this is completely normal. You can keep using AI for brainstorming advice, inspiration, not in relationships with your kids, not in any other relationships, by the way, but start going within. Okay? So it's not that you're a bad mom and you're failing and you're not fit for motherhood. Absolutely not. You're trying your best. It's more than good enough. Let's just get more awareness about what are the missing pieces. Because if you're still struggling with helping your kids listen and having less drama at home and more peace and calm and actually that unconditional love and appreciation flowing, then you've been probably trying to fix the wrong problem by asking the wrong questions. So what is it actually that needs to shift? You need to start become aware of the moment where it all goes off track. So start realizing what you're feeling right before you yell. Start catching that moment. Start building up the space between feeling this and then reacting, as I call, like emotionally vomiting the anger on the kids. Start building up the space between that emotion and your reaction. And then the third step is to rewire your reaction so that you feel the emotion and you're able to work through it and then still respond to your kids in a calm, how AI says, respond in a calm, grounded, firm way without raising your voice. Sounds easier said than done, but yes, it's possible. And the good news is it's a skill that can be learned. It's not a personality trait. You're not screwed forever. You can learn that. So if you would like to go deeper in any of this and even get my direct feedback on your situation and challenge me like, yeah, lady, sounds good, but you didn't hear my story and how would it look like in my case, because my situation is much more difficult than any other mom you've ever tried and talked about. Come and join me for the Mommy Tantrum Masterclass because I'm doing them live. So that's when we have the opportunity to actually detangle and deconstruct and look underneath any of the situations that you have with your kids so that you finally done with the generic advice of AI or any parenting coaches who are just managing the behaviors on top. Let's get to the root. What is it that happens in those 3 seconds before you lose it? What is the pattern that you keep getting stuck on with your kids? What kind of relationship dynamic is already going on that has so much momentum that it's so difficult to stop it and just hey, time out. So let's talk about it in that Mommy Tantrum Masterclass. The link to sign up will be somewhere around this video in the description. It's free to join. And this is where we can have a real conversation and go much deeper underneath what's really happening so that you finally start having the power, start getting the control over your reactions, be able to stop it in the moment and start rewiring into a healthy reaction. The problem was never the advice itself. It was what you couldn't see underneath. And that's what we are changing right here. So if you want to take the next step, I'm going to see you in the free Mommy Tantrum Masterclass live. And if you want to send me your feedback and let me know about your specific situation, then email us at hi@zensupermom.com. I'll see you in the next episode of the Zen Supermom podcast. Bye, Supermom.